Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first Everybody Hates the Commissioner podcast. Today I am welcomed by Bo. He's joining me. And then, yeah, here we go. Let's go. Come on, let's hear it. My name is Nick Diltz. And if you don't know me, I am the commissioner of our 920 Dynasty Fantasy Football League on the Sleeper app. And I want to give a shout out to my buddy John. He did a podcast or did some YouTube videos earlier this year. I watched them, and then he's been doing one on our a pick'em league, and I kind of lit a fire under my ass to finally do something like this. So yeah, this should be a good time. And Bo, welcome again.
Yeah,
that was kind of a shitter of a second half last night, wasn't it?
It was not as exciting as we would have liked, right? I mean, We've got a tie game at half, and the Rams kind of shit all over themselves in the second half, and the Bills run away with it.
Yeah, it's too bad. I mean, besides, there was some, especially like you have Cooper Kupp. He had a hell of a game on the losing end, but you'll take that. You'll take 30 points on any day,
every day.
Yeah, Bo, how do we know each other?
So yeah, a little intro on myself, Bo Bengen.
Yeah.
My team name in our league is Solo Cup. So if you don't know me, that's where you're going to see me is Solo Cup. Nick, you and I, we had kind of an interesting the way we kind of got to know each other, because we met a long time ago. I think when we were still in high school.
Shortly after.
Yeah,
but right around there.
Yeah, but then through mutual friends, mainly through my wife Kaylin, you and I kind of started getting to know each other a little bit better, mainly through football and some head-to-head Madden, which was pretty competitive, if I do say so myself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this first Dynasty Fantasy Football League that I've ever been a part of. So it's been an interesting time to kind of get started here. There's, I think, a learning curve on both of our ends since it's the first time, but it'll be a lot of fun. You
Absolutely.
asked me to identify my drink of choice, which right now is this lovely bottle of Basil Hayden's that I've got sitting here. I did pour myself a glass. I don't care if it's noon on a Friday. So cheers to you, Mr. Commissioner. I appreciate you bringing me on for the first podcast. So thank you to you.
Yeah, so that's one of my favorites. Obviously, I have that off. I'm not having any right now. We're going up to Green Bay tonight to go visit some friends. So, what do you got going on this weekend? Anything fun?
Yeah, I'm actually headed back to the alma mater, the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater. It'll be the first time back to the alma mater since graduation. I think it's about 5 years ago or so. Whitewater is playing the #1 team in Division III football as their home opener. So a couple of college buddies and I are going to go and watch. Been a long time since I've watched a football game in person, so I'm interested to see how it goes. Awesome. We might get wet with some rain, but that'll be all right.
Yeah, we're going to the Packer game on October 2nd. I'm looking forward to against the Patriots. I'm looking forward to that quite a bit. So yeah, it's been a while since I've been to a football game myself. But yeah, sweet. So what do you for people that don't know, what do you do for work?
So I am in insurance, personal lines insurance. I don't do business insurance. I don't do life or health insurance. So essentially my job is a risk analyst, you could say. It's wicked exciting. So I'm not gonna get into that any further.
Absolutely. So I don't know what your opinion is, but I love this Sleeper app. I gotta give a shout out to Dan, a coworker of mine, who kind of led me to that platform. But it's, in my opinion, the more I use it, the more I like it. It was really confusing at first because there's so much stuff going on, and it kind of incorporates social media a little bit. And there's every time you swipe one way, it feels like a different something different pops up. But like I said, I think it's pretty awesome. What do you think about it?
Yeah, there was a little bit of a learning curve. The same thing
For
with
sure.
the league itself and the idea of a dynasty league. But yeah, with the Sleeper app, I'd never used it before, so I'm still kind of getting used to it. I like that there's a little bit of a gambling aspect to it,
Yeah,
on top
yeah,
of the fantasy league. So that's a cool tie-in. But yeah, I think the more you use it, the better you're going to get with it. So it's just
yeah,
going to take a little bit of time. But I think it's functional. I mean, there's a lot of you can get pretty in depth with it, which is good. It's exactly what you want with a fantasy league. The more
yep.
information you have sometimes is better. So I think it's solid. It's a spin-off, difference from the ESPN app, or I know a lot of people use Yahoo too. So this will be a little bit different, but I think it's well past functional for a dynasty league that we're in right now.
Yeah. So what was your kind of your going in to the bet draft that we did? What was your kind of your game plan there?
Yeah, so you and I actually did the draft order selection. So I
Yeah.
knew right away where I was going to be drafting, and I ended up with the last pick. So I knew that the top guys were going to be gone. So for my mindset, I guess, was I need to get guys that I know are going to produce right away in the draft, since I'm going to have back-to-back picks, which is where I got Cup at the 12th pick. So I knew I was going to have a guy there that was going to help me right away. And then towards the back end, it was going to be build depth, right? So
Yep.
you can find young wide receivers and young running backs, and we knew going in that we were going to be able to do a rookie draft. So you're going to get more young depth there. So for me, a lot of it being that I was going to draft late and have back-to-back picks, but then wait a long time, was going to
Yep.
be get the best guys that are on the board. And
Right.
I feel like we did a decent job of that from my team perspective anyways. So there's a little bit of a mix. I'd call it a blended strategy where I've got some old guys that I think can produce, but then I've got some young guys that I think will be good, within the next couple of years after they get some time under their belt.
Yeah. I'm not. I mean, I think everybody's pretty aware of other team situations, but I'm kind of assuming that you kind of know what my plan was. I definitely. I ended up
Yeah.
moving up. I would start with the eighth pick, and I moved up to five, and then a few minutes before the draft started, actually, it might have been during the draft, moved up with Stewart from 5 to 4, and I got the guy that I wanted the whole time in Jamar Chase. But I
Yeah.
definitely was going. I was going for the long haul here.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm definitely hurting a little bit at running back right now. But I'm pretty high on Damian Pierce, and I feel like if he turns out to be a stud
Yeah.
RB1, then I think I'm going to be right there with the the couple top dogs that we have. For sure. And I have 7 rookies on my team, so I'm banking if I can hit 2 of them, 2 or 3 to turn into studs, I'm going to be pretty stoked, and then I think I'm going
Yeah.
to be really set up for the long haul here. But yeah,
Oh
so
yeah.
who do you besides your own team, who would you say has the best team to win it right now? Would you say?
I think Dan Parker is the easy choice here.
Yep.
I think his team is set up with McCaffrey, with Barkley, and with Chubb all on that roster. I mean, it's running back heavy, but if those guys stay healthy, those are guys that can win you a league.
Yep.
CMC being the main guy there, and I think if there's a choice for a team that's built to win this year or next year, I think Dan's is the one to go with. On
Yep.
the flip side of that, though, I was looking through the rosters this morning. I think Isaac has a really good chance to be successful long term. I like the way his team is set up. Not a ton of young wide receiver depth, but with the guys he's got as his top couple of wide receivers, I think there's some long term success that he's building there.
He's got a healthy blend for sure of
Yeah,
kind of guys in the middle of their careers here, so it's not like they're not really young, but they're not too old either. And
right.
obviously, he went with Josh Allen with his first pick in the first round, which is a little eye-opening, I think, for a lot of people. But I mean, I guess you can't really complain with 33.5 points last night either. That was even with 2
Well,
picks.
and that's just it.
So
And what you get from Josh Allen is the Bills offense. You know what I mean?
yep.
He's coming out, he's throwing the ball, he's running the ball. I think he led the team in rushing last night. against the Rams. So I mean, you can't get much more production out of a quarterback than something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. I like his team too. I don't see a ton of depth there personally on the bench, but he's got, if he is unfortunate to do enough to deal with some injuries, I think he's going to be. Oh, we'll see. But I would agree with Dan for sure. That was my pick. I don't know how much he's going to have in the future. Kind of looking at it, he's definitely going for it, and that's a good strategy. I don't think anybody really had a bad strategy. What they wanted to do. Obviously, everyone has their own opinion on that kind of stuff. But yeah. So what about the future?
Absolutely.
Who's your favorite dynasty team for the long haul currently that you think?
Well, so I was looking through them both, through all of them. I think Isaac is set up decent. Obviously, you having 7 rookies on your team gives you an opportunity to be successful long term if you can grab another couple of guys. Maybe there's a trade here or there. So from a youth standpoint, I think you're the choice in this category. It's really interesting too, because when we did the draft, you can kind of have a strategy and have a mindset. And we've played enough Madden to know that you can get guys and guys are going to develop. And in the NFL, the average lifespan of a player is 3 to 4 years. But then you have those big guys that break out and they play for a decade. And this is a league that I think could last a span like that. So when you've got a team like yours that has 7 rookies, I think you've got a chance to be really successful for a long duration. Maybe not within the next year or two, but going forward, you think you would have a lot of success.
Yep. I really liked Cody's team for the future. He's got Mahomes, Najee Harris. I really, really like Travis Etienne. I think he's going to be really solid, and unfortunate for him last year, but I think he's going to be good. I just think Cody needs a tight end. He's kind of struggling there, but the rest of it, man, I think that's pretty damn solid, honestly. I liked his a lot. So what about give me a team that you don't like?
And this is no shade at the guy himself, but why Kai has 4 quarterbacks on his roster is beyond me. I don't know what's going on there. It's a bold strategy, Cotton. We'll see how it plays out for him. But if I had to trade teams with a guy, I don't think I'm choosing Kai's 4 quarterback roster.
All right, fair enough. I personally did not. I put 2 down just in case that you said mine, but again, not picking on the guy because I love the guy. I enjoy my time around him every time I'm with him. But Broest, I think outside of Dalvin Cook, who's gonna get hurt, I don't know if he's ever played a full season.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson is definitely injury prone, but it's my dog. I've got a dog, everyone, in case you didn't know. But I don't really like how that one's set up personally. I just that's not really a team that I'd really want to trade for either. So, but how did you feel about our draft timing? Like kind of how we played that all out?
I thought it was solid. You had mentioned to me that you wanted to do it before the NFL draft, and I thought that was a really key point. So being able to perform the draft before this year's NFL draft, get the rosters set, and then have the opportunity to do the rookie draft, I thought was perfect timing, because then you have the opportunity to do the rookie draft. And at that time we were before training camp. So we were drafting based on projection. You can look at the roster up and down and see where you think that those rookies might fall on the depth chart. But until we get to training camp and see the guys on the field and the way things are falling in practice, you really have no idea. So I like the way we set it up. I think it's good going forward that we let the NFL draft go and then we do our rookie draft. Obviously, it's going to be short. It's going to be a short deal going forward because we're just doing those three rounds of rookies.
Yeah.
But I thought the timing of it was really thought out, really well thought out. I think you did a good job with it. And I like the way it's set up going forward, because who doesn't love the NFL draft? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know you and I, we get really up for it. It's one of the best days of the year. And at that point, everybody's got hope, you know, and that's what you can build with your fantasy team too, is that there's hope for next year.
Yep, absolutely. And I definitely want to continue to wait for that draft, and then wait for the NFL draft, and then do it. I guess we can kind of play around with it a little bit, but do it for sure before training camp comes along, because I think the uncertainty of what happens in training camp makes things so much more interesting. Like you got Romeo Doubs in the 3rd round, and they've been so high on him. And had we done it after training camp started, he probably would have been a 1st round pick. And where that benefited you, where I went with a different Packers rookie receiver, Christian Watson, in the 1st round, and he was banged up, and he's still got more question marks around him. So you got lucky on that end, and I got maybe a little unlucky, but at the same time, I really like how that played out, because like you said, it's uncertainty, and it makes things a little bit more interesting for sure. So we'll have to keep that going.
Yeah, and another factor too is you got to remember these guys are all rookies. So I mean, most of the guys are essentially skill players are 21, 22, maybe 23. So the guys have years in front of them. So even a guy like Watson, who we didn't really see much of in the preseason games, we haven't really heard much from him from camp. He was dealing with a little bit of an injury. And I think the Packers are kind of doing that on purpose. They know that the guy's young. They know there's going to be some time to develop him. Maybe he's not an impact player on your fantasy team this year, you know, but maybe in 2-3 years he breaks out. And the Packers have a history of doing that with wide receivers. It's slow going at the beginning, and then they build guys into stars. So nothing to be deterred on.
Yeah, I agree with that, because I definitely could see him maybe making a small impact this year, but I think in a year or two he'll start making a much bigger impact, being with his size and speed, and it's just his athleticism in general. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about him. So well, cool. All right. So talking about rookies and some exciting players, do you have a guy on your team that you're really pumped to watch this year?
Yeah, well, we watched a guy last night in Cooper Kupp that's amazing to watch. But the one guy I'm really excited to watch is Justin Herbert, the QB in my team. I'm really excited about that Chargers team, mainly their offense, because they brought a lot of guys back. They've got some firepower. I think they're going to put up a ton of points, and that defense is going to put them in some good positions. I think they're built to cause turnovers, and I think Herbert, the way he can sling it, is one of the biggest stars in the NFL. Maybe not because he's the second fiddle in LA, you know, to the Rams. But I think if Justin Herbert is playing in Chicago or you know, playing in one of the other big markets, I think he's one of the biggest stars in the league. But he kind of gets pushed aside because he plays for the Chargers, and they don't really have a home game all season. But I'm really excited for Justin Herbert. I think that team is going to put up a lot of points. Yeah,
for sure. I'm going with Dameon Pierce. I brought him up a little earlier. They're so high on him down there, and I understand that they're definitely some pieces away from being competitive. But if he is what they say he is, then I'm going to be really stoked to watch him go this year for sure. What about a guy that's not on your team? Hello. I think we lost Bo. Oh.
Okay.
And there we are again. Sorry for that little hiccup there. Bo, what is a guy that is not on your team that you're really excited to watch this year?
Yeah, a guy that I'm really interested in watching to see how things play out, both for him from a fantasy perspective and just kind of on the field in the NFL, is Lamar Jackson. He's got some stuff going on with the Ravens organization about his contract.
Yeah.
So I'm really interested to see how things play out for him on the field. Obviously, an extremely dynamic player, can put up yards and touchdowns with the best of them. So I'm really excited to see how he fares this year. He ended the year, I think, hurt with the Ravens last year, and the team kind of fizzled out.
Right.
But we're in first place in the AFC when he went down. So I'm really excited to see how they come back, and they're going to have better injury luck this year. I think the Ravens are still a force, and I'm really excited to see how Lamar fares this year.
Yeah. I'm actually going to go with another rookie here. You know how I like my rookies. I'm super stoked to watch George Pickens.
Yeah.
That guy, I think, is going to be a freak. I don't know if you saw that video of him where he just laid out. I don't know if it was in their the 2-team practice or the joint practice, or if it was in a preseason game where he laid that corner out.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty awesome.
Well,
and you see a bunch of right. And you see a bunch of clips of like them in practice. That it's a bobbled ball, he's just going. He's going for everything. He's just giving 110% on all of those balls, and it's gonna be fun watching him play. But isn't that kind of crazy with all these Steelers receivers? Man, they just keep pulling them out of their ass. It's just like, but when the second they get that next contract or end of their rookie year or their rookie contract, man, it's like they lose their brain. It's just it's nuts.
I don't understand the way that they turn them around in Pittsburgh. Wide receivers is unbelievable. They pull guys out of the draft that nobody would think would be, what they are, and they turn them into stars, and then they lose their minds when they leave Pittsburgh. I don't understand what they're doing, but they do something right. I'll give them that. I'll give them credit. They know how to develop wide receivers.
Yeah, that wide receiver scout should get a little more credit there too, for sure.
No kidding. Absolutely.
So how do you feel about our Packers this year?
I love it. I was going through the schedule again, and I'll probably give them a 13-4 record. They love to split with Minnesota. I'll give them a loss to Minnesota. I don't know, after watching Buffalo last night, I don't know if the Packers can keep up with Buffalo. They do get them, I think, kind of in the middle of the year. So it'll be interesting to see how the team develops up until that point. I would say they probably at this point lose to Buffalo. I don't love Aaron Rodgers going up against Tom Brady. I would say they might lose that game down in Tampa. And then Miami on Christmas Day, I think, is tough for any team in the North to go down and play in Miami where it's still wicked hot. I don't know if I like that game either, but the schedule is pretty soft for the Packers this year. So I like a 13-4, 12-5 record, somewhere in there. But I think it's good enough for a top 3 seed in the NFC.
Yeah, I'm kind of shooting. I'm not giving them that much credit. I think they're going to kind of struggle a little bit offensively at the start of the year. I'm going with 11-6. I still see them winning the division and probably getting a 3 seed. I just see us going about 4-2 in the division. I see them sweeping the Bears. I think, especially after that game down in Chicago last year when Rodgers was screaming at the crowd. I think not that he needs any more motivation, but I think he's going to be in another mission to sweep them this year for sure. And then like you said, we seem to split with the Vikings every year, and I can see Detroit being tough. I'm not sure if you watch Hard Knocks or not this year, but I just see them. I don't see them being super competitive and being in the playoff hunt. But I could see us kind of just getting bullied one game there against Detroit, and then I see them splitting in the AFC East.
Okay.
Obviously, we'll beat the Jets, but I think we'll get maybe it'll be those other 3: the Dolphins, Patriots, and the Bills. Oh, sorry, dog.
Obi.
But I just see us kind of getting lucky, or I think those other 3, like I said, we close games, but I'd see us taking one more loss there, and then probably going 3-1 against the NFC East. The Cowboys, I think that's going to be a win. It's going to be at home. Mike McCarthy's coming back, but I think Philly's going to be a lot tougher than people think this year too. They got a pretty well-rounded roster for sure.
I'm with you.
So
Absolutely.
anyways, I'm going to go with 11-6, and I tell you what, this defense that we have, man, with all those first rounders out there, I love it. Don't get me wrong, but if that doesn't work, there's nobody else to blame out there besides the coach, besides our coordinator, because he has absolutely no excuse to not make something work on the defensive side of the football this year.
I'm with you. Absolutely. If they stay healthy, it's time for them to be a top 5 defense. And if you give Aaron Rodgers a top 5 defense, the sky's the limit. And I think you have to have Super Bowl expectations at that point. I mean, on defense, you need dudes, and they have a ton of them out there. They're young, they're fast, they're aggressive. I think they have to play well, and they might come to a point where they need to win some games, especially with the lack of skill talent they have on offense. It's time for that defense to really step up and be a force.
Oh, for sure. And it'll be fun to watch. It'll be really fun to watch Quay Walker running around out there with Campbell. I'm excited to see those guys play next to each other in our secondary with all of the resources that we put into that secondary. It's going to be fun for sure.
Absolutely. I'm with you.
So, how do you see the division playing out?
I mean, I think it's the Packers division to lose. I think it's been that way for the last 30 years, since Brett Favre came into the Packers organization. Right. There's a lot of buzz surrounding the Vikings. I'm going to believe it when I see it. I just don't trust Kirk Cousins in any type of big game situation. I think he's proven it to us that if he gets in a situation where it's 3rd and 8 and they're tied with 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, I just don't trust him. I can't. I haven't been able to. I don't think I ever will until he proves that he can do it. So with that being said, I think you, like you said, the Packers win this division, and I don't think it's going to be particularly close. But I could see the Vikings giving them a little bit of a run, and it comes down to the last couple weeks of the year.
Yeah, I can see them being about 1 or 2 games back behind the Packers. I think, and then I'm going to make kind of a switch here from last year. I see the Lions taking 3rd in our division this year, because
I'm with you.
Not that I like the Bears. Obviously, I don't like the Bears, but that team is just so bad. I mean, they've got Mooney, and you can say all you want about Justin Fields and being as much talent as he has, which I think that he does, and he probably is the most talented quarterback that the Bears have had in a really, really long time, if not ever. Absolutely. But they don't have anything around him for him to. Not to mention the offensive line's bad. I don't. So I think they very well could have the worst record in the league personally. Yeah. So, and I think the Lions are going to take a decent step forward this year, and I think in a couple of years with that coach of theirs, man, I think they're going to be a force to reckon with, I think, in the future for sure. But
when the Lions are getting really close to the point where they're a QB away, you know what I mean? Yeah. They've got guys in place that are young and are hungry and are ready to win, and a coach that they can play for and believe in. Yeah. I don't know if Dan Campbell is the guy to lead them out of it, but I know he gets those guys to play hard. I can tell you that. All you got to do is watch the games, and they play hard for that guy.
Yeah, and I actually am not a Jared Goff hater either. I think he had a really respectable year last year. Yeah, and I don't see that changing. Especially if anything, he's going to get better because he's going to have some more weapons. They brought in a couple of free agents, and then when Jameson Williams comes back, that's going to make things more interesting too. I mean, that's going to be a little scary for sure. But I think he's going to actually have a better year. But for sure, yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be a really fun year. I'm stoked for the whole thing. So what about I need a lock and an upset out of you for this week. And you can't take the Bills over the Rams, Bo. That one does not count because you
fair enough.
We're a day late.
I think that's fair enough. A lock that I see on the schedule this week is the Baltimore Ravens going to New York and playing the Jets. I don't see a world in which the Ravens lose to the Jets. With Zach Wilson, yes, you're dealing with Joe Flacco, but I don't see it. I think Lamar is too dynamic. The Jets have some guys, but I don't see the Ravens losing to the Jets. I'll take that one as a lock.
Okay. And you're upset, sir.
I like your boy Trevor going to Washington, playing the Commanders. I think they're catching 3.5 right now. I think the Jags get a huge monumental upgrade at the head coach with Doug Peterson coming in. He's won a Super Bowl. He knows what it takes to build a team and get them to play well. I think the Jags have some good players. I think that roster is in a position where they can make some noise in that AFC South. Not a really strong division, but I like them this week. Going to Washington, playing against the Commanders team that seems like they're kind of stuck in the mud right now. I don't know if Rivera is the guy in Washington. So I like the Jags against the Commanders this weekend.
So that was actually my upset too, but I did because I believe in Trevor Lawrence for sure. But I did I made 2 picks just in case we did have the same. The other one upset that I had though is Carolina over Cleveland this weekend. Dude, I think Baker's he's gonna light it up, and he's gonna have a pretty solid year. Especially, he was banged up all last year, and he was still toughing it out. I mean, that's one tough son of a bitch, man, with playing with the torn labrum. So, and I think he's gonna ball out for sure. And my lock, I think this is if you're gonna be in. Nobody out there should be taking any betting advice from us because we are not professionals. I gotta say that we're not professionals. Do not. You can spend your money the way that you want to, but if I was forced to make a bet this weekend on just a win, that's gonna be Denver over Seattle on Monday night.
Really?
Or is that Sunday night? Oh my God! All those weapons that they have in Denver, and not to mention Russ. Now you hear all this news about Russ being pissed off at Carroll and then at the team as a whole because they were scouting Pat Mahomes and Josh Allen. Like, I've never liked Russell Wilson, and I think I've expressed that to you in the past, but but I just still don't see I don't see Seattle even having a one lick of a chance of winning that football game, and not at all. But hey, I've been wrong before, and that's so. I would take that one for sure. But
fair.
So, all right. Well, hey, this was, I think, a really, really good start to Everybody Hates the Commissioner podcast. I thought it was a lot of fun, and and for everybody that's listening, I'm going to have a corrections segment. In case we said something incorrect and it's bothering you, like I was listening to John's podcast yesterday morning or the day before, Wednesday, and they were talking about Devontae Adams being drafted in the 4th round, and I'm just sitting there going, no, he was in the 2nd round. So if anybody that's listening, you heard a mistake, anything, text it to me, email it to me, let me know, and we'll go over those each week. But it's been a good time, Bo.
Yeah.
And thanks for joining.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. I look forward to the season. Good luck to you, sir, until you play me. Then the worst of luck to you.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Sounds good. Everybody have a good weekend, and we're all happy that football is back. So
Oh yes.
All right. Yes. Take care.
Bye-bye.